Hi guys, Hugh here from Square Labs. Today I'm going to take you through how you can automatically create structured client folders inside Zoho WorkDrive from your Zoho CRM system. This is going to allow you to have a clean folder structure in Zoho WorkDrive, and we can link that to a client record in CRM as well as a specific deal that's relating to that client. So let me take you through that WorkDrive structure. So we're going to have a central clients folder, which is a team folder in Zoho WorkDrive. Now inside that folder is going to have all of our individual client folders. So we can have a contact if they're the client, or we can have an account if they're the client. Inside there, we're going to have a deals folder. Now this is going to house all of the individual deals that that client has. So you can have multiple deals inside that folder. Let's get into it and I'll show you how to do it. So inside Zoho WorkDrive, you can see here we need a clients folder. Now that client folder, all we need to do once that's been created is grab this URL, copy that and save it for later. We will be including that in our functions. Inside the CRM, we're going to need to put a WorkDrive folder ID field. Now this is just a single line text field and that needs to be created on the contacts, account and deals modules. We're also going to need to have some sort of unique identifier. So I've got client number. Now I have an auto number configured here with a prefix for C for contact and A for account. That is the same on both of those accounts. On deals, my deal names are usually different for a specific client, but if you do have deal names that are the same for the same client, I'd suggest you create a deal number unique identifier. And the reason we do this is you can't have the same folder name inside a folder. So we need to make sure that they're unique. The next thing we need to do is set up some connections. So we're going to have two connections. Now you can do it all in the one, but I prefer to have a connection for each application. So we're going to click Zoho OAuth. We're going to select CRM functions execute, create and read, and call our connection CRM connection. We can then click create and connect again. Select our production system and accept. Now we've got our CRM connection, we can create our WorkDrive connection the exact same way. We're going to need WorkDrive files all and create WorkDrive connection. Now we've got that one, we can click connect and accept. And now we've got our two connections and we're ready to start with our functions. If we go into the functions section here, we're going to click new function. We'll call this one contact WorkDrive folder. And we're going to select a button type of category. We can click create. In here, first thing we're going to do is input that client folder URL in that top variable we've got there. And then I'll just quickly run through what the function's doing. So we are checking the current contact for a WorkDrive folder ID. If they do not have one, we're going to create a folder name with the client number that we got from the auto number there, with a hyphen and their full name. We then call the WorkDrive create folder integration task to create that using our WorkDrive connection. Once that's done, we're going to get the ID of that folder and we're going to return it and save it on the record. Once all this is done, we're going to open up that WorkDrive folder in a new tab so that the user can see where that folder's been created. If there's already a WorkDrive folder created for this customer, or this contact, we're just going to open that folder straight away. There is an important info statement here, and this is because we're going to be calling this button function later. We need just one single info statement in the entire code because that's the only one we want to pass back when we're calling this function from the other one. But I'll get into that in a bit more. We need to set our arguments in here to contact ID, and then we're going to click string and click save and then save again. Now that we've got that function there, you can repeat the exact same process for the accounts. The next thing we need to do is we need to expose these functions to the API. So we click on the ellipsis here and we click REST API. We put on OAuth 2 and we copy that there. So that's going to go into our deal folder creation automation. We're going to repeat the exact same process for the account folder. And now we're set up. Now we can create our new function called deal WorkDrive folder. And this is also going to be a button. Once you've copied your code in, we're going to add our client folder URL again, and we're also going to add in the copied REST API URLs for our account and our contact. Next, we're going to determine which client folder we're going to save this deal in. If there's an account associated to this deal, the account would be the client. If there's no account, the contact would be the client. And if there's neither of each, we're going to send a warning back to the customer saying we can't create this WorkDrive folder because we don't know who the client is. This process is the same for the accounts and contacts. So we get the accounts record, we check for its WorkDrive folder ID. If it doesn't have one, then we're going to have to create one. And we do this by calling the button function that we just created that exists already on the account or the contact. And what we have to do is pass through its ID, and then it will create that folder, save it to the record, and return to us through that one info statement what that folder ID was that it created. So now that we've got that folder ID, we know where to save that deals parent folder. But we need to get the ID of that deals folder. So to do that, we call the WorkDrive API, and we just search for all folders inside that client's folder, and we get a list of them, and then we search for the one that's called deals. If there is no deals folder, we're going to create one, and then get the ID of that, and then what we're going to do is save in our new deals folder into that deals folder. And that's done by saving it as the deal name. Obviously, you can add one here which has the deal ID prior to the deal name if that's the way you're going to go. Once we get that, we get a deal ID, and we're going to save that to the record. Then we're going to do the same process, which is open in a new tab, that WorkDrive folder. One thing that's also I've included in the code here, if you want to go a bit further, is you can create some automated subfolders within the deals. For example, you might want a quotes subfolder in there or something like that, and then you can have even subfolders under that. I prefer to create my parent kind of folders on the fly, so it's not just a lot of empty folders. Next thing we need to do is create our deal ID argument, and just put that one through there, save. And we can save this function. Now to associate them, we're just going to go into customization, modules and fields. Let's just start with contacts. And then we go across to links and buttons. First thing we do is we're going to create our button. I'm going to call this one create WorkDrive folder. We're going to place this on the view page, and it's going to perform an action from existing actions. We're going to select the function that suits it, which is the contact WorkDrive folder. And when you set our argument, which is just press the hashtag key, here we want to select contacts, ID, save, and then we click save again. Just remember that you need to set the permissions of a button after for different profiles. It doesn't give you the option in the configuration. We're also going to create a new link on the side. So this one will be open WorkDrive folder, and we need to build the URL. We've got the client folder URL that we created before. We just need to remove the last part, which is files, and then we can select WorkDrive folder ID from the fields here, and it will populate dynamically into this link. Make sure we've got the permissions set, and then we click save. This process just now needs to be completed the same way across accounts, and I've done deals. Now if I open up my contacts and open up any contact here, for example, we can see Simon here. We've got our link down the bottom. If we click that link, we can open up his WorkDrive folder. Obviously he doesn't have one, so it's gone invalid. So we can click create WorkDrive folder, and now we've created one for Simon. If we then go over to his deals, we can see here he's got a deal called Chapman. Inside this deal, he's associated as the contact, but the account is Chapman. Now we know that the Chapman account doesn't have a client folder yet, so if we click create WorkDrive folder, we're calling that accounts function and creating it, and then we're creating our deal. And you can see here we've created the clients folder, which is under the account. We've created a deals folder, which houses our deals, and then we've got the actual deal name, which is the one we just created. And that's our client folder. And if we go to there, we can see that we've created those two separate client folders. Even though we've got that button set up and it's a little bit manual, we can always add automation later, right? So we can always configure a workflow using the exact same code to create that WorkDrive folder. Hopefully you got enough out of that one today, guys. It's a really cool, simple way to have a bit of folder structure inside your system. Obviously you can expand on it a little bit as you require.